The 10 biggest losing margins in NRL history. Round 18 of the 2023 NRL season gave us some absolute blowouts with multiple sides getting put to the sword. In a season that has been tightly contested, were Round 18's losses so bad that they made the all-time NRL record books. So without further ado, let's dive into our top 10 biggest losing margins in NRL history. Number 10. Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Round 22, 2000 for 60 points. Manly suffered a humiliating 70-12 defeat against the Penrith Panthers in Round 22 of the 2004 season. In a season where they finished 13th out of the 15 sides, this performance mirrored much of their poor displays across the seasons. Manly had separate 6- and 4-game losing streaks across their 2004 season. The Sea Eagles didn't pick up too many wins across the season, but they did beat the Panthers earlier that year, which makes this loss stranger. Manly would learn their lesson by winning the following 2 weeks by a margin of 56 points, helping them avoid the wooden spoon. Number 9. St. George Illawarra Dragons. Round 5, 2000. 60 points. The Melbourne Storm handed the Dragons their biggest loss in the club's history, winning 70-10 at the MCG. The 2000 Dragons would only miss out on finals footy by a single win, and despite this loss, remarkably finished the season with a better point differential than all the teams below them on the ladder. New Zealand international Tasisa Lavia had 24 points on his own as the Storm would set a record for the biggest win, with this destruction coming off the back of a 4-game losing streak. Number 8. Penrith Panthers. Round 22, 2008 62 points. The Panthers have experienced their fair share of success over the past few years, but the late 2000s were much different. The Raiders put 74 points on Penrith in their 74-12 win, the equal most points scored ever in an NRL match. Terry Campese scored 4 tries and converted 9 conversions, totaling 36 points, the most ever scored by an individual in the NRL. The Panthers responded the following round, scoring 52 points in a win against the Bulldogs, then conceded 40 the week after that. Number 7. West's Tigers. Round 18, 2001 64 points. In the joint venture's infancy, there were numerous blowouts as the Tigers struggled to find their footing. Unlike other sides so far on this list, the Tigers were unable to score a single point against the Melbourne Storm. In true Tigers fashion, Wests would go on a 3-game win streak following their 64-point humiliation. This was the club's record loss at the time, but unfortunately for the Tigers, the record has since been surpassed. Number 6. Newcastle Knights. Round 11, 2007 65 points. Only a month after the retirement of immortal Andrew Johns, the Newcastle Knights started to really struggle. The Broncos scored 71 points, with 46 of them coming after halftime. This is the Broncos' biggest ever win and the Knights' biggest ever loss, with the game setting the tone for the Knights' season as they finished just a single win off the bottom. Number 5. West's Tigers. Round 23, 2022. 66 points. The Tigers are on this list once again, and well, it won't be their final mention. The Round 23 performance against the Roosters typified their 2022 season, with the club winning their first wooden spoon. Sam Walker would kick 12 conversions, making him the tied record holder for most goals kicked in a single game. This came during their 12-game run to conclude the season, where they lost 11 games. Number 4. Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Round 16 and 18, 2021 and 2023. 66 points. Almost 2 years apart, the Bulldogs would experience their worst losses, with 2 66-0 defeats in 2021 and 2 0-3. The Bulldogs went scoreless against both the Sea Eagles and Knights as both sides dismantled the Dogs at home. Ruben Garrick and Callan Ponga went into the record books in their respective matches, slotting 11 conversions. Whilst the Sea Eagles coasted into the top 4 in 2021, the Knights destroyed Canterbury and sat just 1 place above the Bulldogs in the standings. Number 3. South Sydney Rabbitohs. Round 16, 2006 66 points. The Bunnies had their fair share of struggles in the early to mid-2000s. The Rabbitohs' 2006 season proved to be their worst, though, as the side went 14 consecutive games without a win. The 66-0 loss handed to them by the Warriors forced the club to come out with a public apology. Thankfully for Bunnies fans, they are far removed from what were some truly dark times. Number 2. Cronulla Sharks. Round 24, 2003 points. In what was the perfect storm for a one-sided blowout, the Sharks' David Peachey, Danny Nutley, and Dale Newton were either sin-binned or sent off in the second half. Peachey would be sent off for dissent at halftime, Nutley sin-binned for a dangerous tackle, and Newton sent off for a blatant high shot. With the side down to 10 men for a period and 11 players for the remainder of the game, the Eels tore Cronulla apart. Number 1. West's Tigers. Round 18, 2023 74 points. The club joins the list for the third time, the most of any NRL side. The Cowboys would score 74 unanswered points, with it the biggest winning margin, the most points scored, and also the most points scored without reply in NRL history. The Tigers' 66-point drubbing the season prior looked to be rock bottom, but the Tigers managed to surpass even the lowest of expectations. This loss came remarkably only 6 weeks removed from West's defeating the Cowboys 66-18, their highest ever point total in a single game. The Cowboys scored 74 points in just 65 minutes of action after not scoring for the first 15 minutes, making the win even more insane. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like the video and please do share the video.